Hi everyone. So Holbein's anamorphic skull is one of the more unique features I've seen in a painting. Its distortion is so clear and accurate that the viewer questions what they are looking at and then must explore the painting from different angles in order to find their answer. But even when the skull is visible, the question of its meaning remains. After researching the skull further, I learned that its full form is only visible from the lower left side of the portrait looking up or from high up on the right side of the portrait looking down. Because of these placements, some people believe that Holbein intended for the painting to be displayed on the staircase, so that people caught a glimpse of the skull as they ascended or descended the stairs. I found this to be an interesting concept because ascension and descension are associated with a person's departure from either heaven or hell. So imagine if it is true, and excuse my poor use of graphics, but if a person started at the bottom of the stairs, they would be looking up at the skull. Then, as they ascended, the skull slowly disappears and they gain a better view of the object at the table, on the table at the center of the painting, all of these worldly possessions and accomplishments. But then, as they reach the top of the stairs and try to look back at these accomplishments, all they are met with yet again is the skull. To me, this journey is symbolic of a person's time on Earth. I feel that Holbein was trying to show that we are born into this life with nothing, and despite whatever we may accomplish during our lifetime, we must all eventually face death and leave our worldly possessions behind. While the thought of facing death may be hard for some to confront, Holbein does reassure the viewer by discreetly placing a crucifix in the upper left corner, a symbol of faith and salvation. In this week's PowerPoint, I feel the featured artists all have their own approach to anamorphic art. Rauschenberg took different photographs and prints and morphed them together in order to make an entirely new piece of art. His complementary colors and contrast make our eyes dart from place to place. His work makes the viewer look at each piece of his artwork separately before assessing it as a whole and appreciating its unity. Griesbach tended to stick to neutral colors, but the way he worked with depth perception and detail in each scene almost tricks the eye of the viewer at first glance. Holzer's art form is something unique all on its own. Using simple words to illuminate a real-life landscape makes us realize that art isn't always something you can hold in front of you in your hands. Lastly, Gonzalez Day's work seems to be centered mainly around negative space. His altered photographs send a strong message by making the viewer imagine what is not visible in the photo. I feel that the most common thread between all of these artists, past and present, is the message they try to send and commemorate. Particularly in anamorphic art, we really have to research and test our opinions if we want to truly appreciate the artist's efforts. That's all for today. Thank you for listening.